Welcome everybody. Super excited here with Imanol here. He is our ProPresenter wizard, our tech wizard, and our wonderful sacristan. And it's really incredible all the different things he does to make either the YouTube live happen, the slides happen, on top of just being a sacristan. So super cool. Glad to have you.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
So yeah, what are we trying to do here?
So today we're taking a look at ProPresenter. You might have heard about this from your more tech-savvy parishes or maybe your Christian brothers and sisters. Basically, it's kind of like a beefy version of your standard PowerPoint. And it is, full disclosure, it's a paid software. So if you can't get that, I looked around for some possible alternatives. The closest thing you're going to get for free is called OpenSong. But it isn't nearly as robust as this program is, and it really is worth the price. You really do get what you pay for. So I figure we should start with the basics. So this is a program that is primarily for the creation of like lyrics and slideshows and that sort of thing. And so I figured I'd show you how to do that. So if you have a Song Select account, this makes it very easy.
What's Song Select?
So Song Select is like I don't really know how to describe it. It's like a website.
Oh, you're talking about CCLI Song Select?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like a license subscription that gives you the license to either to use the songs in the first place during your service, but then also you can get a subscription to live stream your lyrics too. But it also gives you like a whole bunch of other things like sheet music. You can get your lead sheets, chords, lyrics, harmonies. What else does it do?
So in the context of ProPresenter, you can actually log into it in the software, and you can actually type up really any song. I'm trying to think of the one that we wouldn't have. Because we've been using this for a while, so we have the 78 songs on this thing. So
I guess you can pull from Song Select if you have it, and you can pull from their songs and build up your library. Yeah. Something like that?
Yeah, so you can look up any song that they have, and there's a little button. It's got like a little plus on it, and it'll make a very simple song for you. So that's actually the basis of most of the ones in here.
What about for a song that's not in CCLI Song Select?
So for that, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go up here to New, and then I don't know, whatever song title here. And so now you have your song. Now, obviously, you have to type in the words and stuff, right? So let's say we've typed in some lyrics here. And this slide is the chorus. So what you can do is you can label it. And what this will do is, if you have, let's say, multiple slides that are of one section, like if your chorus would not fit on one slide, then it sort of just automatically fills in the rest of them with that thing. But you can just override it by putting in, let's say, this is the verses, so you put that there, and then here we have our bridge.
So you're kind of assigning colors and I guess the function of the particular lyrics,
right,
to pieces of the song.
Yes, and you can even create custom things. Like there are times in our I don't want to say services, but we do a Eucharistic conference here where we have a slide for a prayer.
Yeah,
and they didn't have that by default, but you can add anything. You can type in anything as a label, and you can assign any color to it, so that you can distinguish it very easily. So the main advantage to ProPresenter over something like PowerPoint, and there are many, but the main thing is that you can jump around. So let's say the Spirit is moving in whoever is leading the music, but they are not necessarily following the script of where they should in theory be, right? So for whatever reason they jump to the verse again, you can just click to it and it'll go up there.
Right, so like I guess with ProPresenter, the idea is you have two screens. One is like your control surface, and then the other is like your output. So that's why you're kind of able to jump around.
Yeah.
Like I was super impressed the one time you were able to like on demand during the event just like type up some slides in the spur of the moment.
Because I had misunderstood some of my what I had been told to do. I thought we were doing like this, like just a very basic, like this is a prayer, but it turned out we were using like a version of the prayer that was to music. So what you can do is here we will take a full song as an example. So let's say we are in the middle of the chorus, and oh no, I have a typo. So what can I do? If this chorus is repeating, which in this case it is, you know, they'll be, you know, continuing to sing it, but you can go up to here and press editor, and then you can change whatever you've done, and they won't see a difference. You can even do this with something that you are with a slide that you're not on. So if you press editor, you can select any slide that's in the song.
If I could just throw this in there too, I think one of the other main differences with ProPresenter as opposed to something like PowerPoint is that you can have a video background.
Yes.
Right?
You read my mind.
Yeah, I remember I tried to do that with PowerPoint or Google Slides in that one case, but it's the way people that have been able to do it and pull it off, it was super weird. So it's really not practically possible.
So here we have like a little, I don't know, it's like Jesus, Mary, and Joseph sort of going through the desert on a wood.
Is it moving at all?
It is. It's the
So it's like super subtle.
It's hard to see, but it's the little glittery things in the background that are moving.
Yeah, but that's what brings it to life. It's
Yeah.
super cool.
So we have a whole bunch of these. Another interesting thing about ProPresenter is that you don't actually have to. You can actually change the background without changing the lyrics. So I'm going here into my little image bin, and I want to select this moving fire thing, and you can see that the text has not changed, but the background has. Which if for whatever reason you feel like, you know, just changing it up on the fly, you know, you can totally do that. And these all these videos are from well, not all of them. Most of them are from a place called Motion Worship, which is a Protestant website that creates sort of motion background
Right.
content.
So when you get ProPresenter, it does come with some basic videos.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It does come with a few. What I recommend, especially if you're on a budget, is you can just look up on your computer church backgrounds or motion backgrounds, and you will find a bunch that are free. But if you do want those like more specific ones, then you might have to pay into a service like Motion Worship. And
There like I remember we were looking at them before, and there are a whole bunch of different websites out there, website companies that you can choose from, and you know, some of them, at least I found them to be super corny, but you can just look around till you find like a good set of libraries or a style that you like.
Yeah,
you know?
and the good thing about these videos is that they are specifically designed for the purpose of being backgrounds, so they loop perfectly. So there are going to be cases where you're going to get a video and it isn't actually going to loop perfectly. Like if you're just sort of taking a video that you have or have found.
Some of these videos might be like a 10-second loop even. I don't know if that's standard or not. And I guess some videos will seamlessly loop, and so you won't even see the transition.
So here in our little ProPresenter thing, we just so happen to at this parish have a life team. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they're really cool. And so they had this theme for the year of Fiat, which is very providential, considering that he decided to name our thing Fiat. But so we have this like 2-minute long video that has like, you know, this little moving background. It's got all these like nice sort of generic shots of like Catholic youth, and you know. But the main thing I liked about this is that there's this window here is sort of, the colors are moving a little bit. But I didn't want all this stuff because it's kind of distracting, right? So what I did is you can create these things called props, and props will go on the top. So if you're familiar with Photoshop, there are layers in it. If you're not, basically just imagine like, I don't know, like imagine if you took like a picture, right? You had like just a normal like photograph, and you had like a plastic sleeve on top of it, and you like drew something on it, then it would be like on top of it. It's kind of like that, right? So you can create all sorts of props. This prop I made covers all this background stuff and puts the word fiat in it. And so now you have the moving color of the window, but you don't have all the sort of more distracting stuff. And you can make these in any shape, and you can make them in different colors and all this stuff, and it'll go on the top layer of your presentation. So you wouldn't probably want to do this for, let's say, for lyrics, because I mean it would go over the text. But for something like this, like a nice graphic that you want to have like up at some time during your maybe before or after mass or something, this is the perfect thing to do for it. There's also something. So this whole taskbar up here, this can all be customized. So if you right click, you can go to Customize Toolbar, and you will see an overwhelming amount of options. But you're probably not going to use every single one of them. Like for example, there's social media. You can connect a social media account to it and display social media posts. But you can actually see down here there's this thing called Pro Remote. Now this is something we haven't utilized, but you can download this app on your phone that allows you to control ProPresenter remotely. From what I understand, it's not, I mean obviously it's a phone, so it's not quite to the extent of an actual PC, but if you have like a presenter that is, they have like a specific slideshow they have, and they want to just sort of click through it without having to rely on like audio cues or anything, you can totally do that. You'll see up here that there's a Bible app, Bible widget, and that's because this is from like a Christian company. This is what it's made for. It's made for this. Now, something that bothers me a little is that they don't have Catholic Bibles on here, because it is predominantly aimed at a Protestant audience. I downloaded the American Standard Version because it's really the best that you can get out of the options. Yeah. But yeah, you can, if you want, like, I don't know, let's say the King James Version, you can purchase that. There's a bunch of different options. There's even, and there is a whole list of free ones. This was just personally.
I know the one we use during the liturgy here, during the Catholic liturgy, is the New American Bible, which I guess I'd have to look to see like how the American Standard Version, I guess it might be a little different.
The family tree of Bibles.
Okay,
really
so
weird.
I don't think it's like for a mass, let's say, I don't think you can just say, let's post the lyrics up there.
Yeah.
Or
the verse, yeah.
The verses.
I haven't used this much. There was only one time I used this. We were doing fiat, and it was sort of like a period of rest, where people were just sort of like, going to the bathroom or whatever. And I had a friend sitting next to me. I was like, any good Bible quotes? And she's like, blah blah blah, this quote. And so what I did is you can go here and select by book.
Oh, that's so quick.
Yeah, no, it's great. So let's say we want
1 Peter 3:15.
1 Peter 3:15. Thank you. So then we can just put that on the screen.
Okay, so should always be ready to give an explanation for the hope that is within you.
Yeah, we will.
Can you see it? Can you read it?
But sanctify in your hearts Christ as Lord, being ready always to give answer to every man that asketh you a reason concerning the hope that is in you, yet with meekness and fear.
It's still the Bible.
Yeah.
So like during a conference, like that could be super effective.
Yeah. So that's a nice little thing. Like like you said, you might not want to necessarily do it during the mass, but if you want to throw something up there, you totally can.
Can we go over, I guess, workflow? Like, so I think what took me a while to understand, but was super helpful for me to understand, is that there is your music library, but then I guess the function of playlists and how they're used.
Yes. Okay. So we touched on playlists a little bit earlier. So right here we have our mass playlist. So we have all these different songs, and since we're in the period of the coronavirus. We have the spiritual communion in there too. So what you can do with this is, let's say, actually I probably shouldn't edit this too much. Okay, let's say you want to add a song to it. All you have to do is drag and drop. Very simple. And then if, let's say, this is supposed to be the opening, you can move it up there. Again, super simple.
Yeah, I really think that's one of the strengths of ProPresenter, is that you're always building your library, with these individual songs, or not even songs, like it can be a mass setting. So you can even say like the Mass of Renewal or the Mass of Christ the Savior. You have that, and then you're able to just like really quickly search it in your song library, and pull it into a playlist, which I guess the playlist, you throw in the four songs or 5 songs you use, your mass setting, and then you're able to do that. So I guess you're continually building and
Yeah, and so the search bar right here is very powerful. As we touched on earlier, you can do song select with it. But even just to search your own library, like let's say, I don't know, I'm trying to think.
Okay, a song that we have done.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, Bless the Lord.
Right. All right. So Bless the Lord.
10,000 Reasons.
Oh, that was actually the top option. Alrighty, but that's okay. So there was I can distinctly remember one time when this guy over here had like this list of songs that we were doing, and then they did a song that I was not informed about. So
Sorry.
It's okay. But this is the great thing about ProPresenter. You can just search it up and put it up there. Like, it's that simple. It's
Yeah, because I know like when you're using PowerPoint or Google Slides, once you create your slide presentation and begin to start presenting, it's not editable anymore.
right. There's not
You're locked in.
right. There's
You'd
really
have
no way to go back.
You would have to stop outputting your feed, edit it, and turn it back on. Which, if you're doing like a live event and there are people out there watching on the projection screens or watching on your live stream, it's not the optimal situation.
Yeah, definitely. So some more basic things. So up here you have your different clear buttons. So let's say we got our 10,000 Reasons, but we're moving to a different song. So I'm just gonna press clear slides, and the text will go away. If I, let's say, for whatever reason, I'm like, you know what, this background just isn't appropriate, I can click clear backgrounds, and then it'll just be black. And then, of course, if I need to get everything off, I just press clear all, and then it is empty.
So in the top left, we have our display. So I guess it's just a smaller version of what everyone is seeing.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Down here we have our library, which is purely songs.
Yeah, I mean, of course, if you put something in there that isn't songs, like we have a little thing. We have a little intro loop for our fiat thing. So this is also in here. All this stuff, it all comes together.
Okay. All right. And then down here we have our playlists. You can have multiple playlists.
Yes. So we have 3 separate playlists right now. So we have our fiat playlist, we have our mass playlist, and we have our life team playlist. And you can make, I mean, as far as I know, an unlimited number of these by simply going down here and creating new playlists right there.
Okay.
And another thing that is useful is this little message thing. All right, we're just gonna delete that.
I didn't see it. It didn't give me a chance to read it.
Anyway, so this message thing, we can say, I don't know, welcome back, and then we can press show message, and it will display temporarily for 5 seconds. You can set it to be however long you want. You can even set it to be until you specifically remove it by pressing clear slides.
So I guess it's just a way to communicate with your audience.
Yes. So
real time.
Yeah, that's a nice thing to do. I mean, if there was like a fire or something, just like
So you
get
can-
out of the building.
If you're having a raffle, you could say, "And congratulations, whoever."
Right. Yeah.
I don't
that's a
know.
More real.
We've never done that.
Yeah, but it's always an option. And so another thing about ProPresenter is that like everything is customizable. So we can make this side just absolutely huge, right? And I'll put it back normal. We can make what I actually usually do during our fiats is I bring this up so that only one thing is shown. So if I really need to search something, I still can because I'll be able to see the option. But mainly, I will be looking at all of these songs here. And you can also bring down this video image bin you have. And now, what I've done many times, well, the first time I did that, I was like, oh no, I lost it forever. How do I get it back? That's why we have the video image button up here. And then that will bring it back for you.
Okay, yeah, so what does this section down here do?
So what you can do is, well, the easiest way I found to do it is you can create a hot folder. So you press
What's
here.
a hot folder?
So a hot folder is a folder on your computer that has images in it. So it makes it very easy to access all your images at once. So I have a place on my desktop that has all of our images in it right here.
And like videos too?
Yep, images, videos, everything. So you press create new hot folder, and then it opens up this little interface.
So you just navigate to it.
So you just navigate to it, and then you have all of them in one place. Now you can see right here that I have 304 items in here.
Nice.
So that gets a little overwhelming maybe.
Okay.
So what you can do is it actually comes with a few of these by default. These little tags you can add to an
okay,
image.
so I think there are two ways you could organize it. Either you have different hot folders, and you like on your desktop, for instance,
Right.
you can probably organize it there and break it down. But what you're about to show is within the software.
Yes. So what you can do is you can right-click, and so you have all these different options. Now, most of these are not there by default. Like I have like a red option, a lint option, and all this stuff. It only comes with like 4 to begin with, I think. But what you can do is you can just create custom tag, and then it went away. Point is, you can create custom tag, and then you can edit the color and everything.
So like a custom tag would be a word?
Yeah. So all of these are custom. So like I have a Marion tag. So you can go
Blue.
down here. Yeah, I chose blue because Marion. So you can go down to the Marion section, and I have all of my Marion images in one spot. So if we have a song, if we're creating a new song that is Marion in theme, I can go here and say, okay, well, what would be good to have as like background here, or if we need like a Marion image like this little looping video of all these different these Marion images, this is where I can.
So you could be in the middle of Mass, not have prepared a background, but then be like, oh, it'd be really cool to have something Marion.
Yes.
And then use it as a background.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So you got a slide in here, right? Let's say we want this this one here. Oh, I still have a different song selected, I think. Anyway, so let's say we want this background here. We can. Oh gosh. Okay. So once you drag it in there, it's there forever. Well, I mean, not there forever. I can't just get rid of it. I can like drag something else over it. I can.
So you can replace it.
Yeah,
delete
you can do
it.
whatever you want. But this is what you'll see in actually like all of these songs that I have here. They all have an image just associated with them, so that like they have a background by default. So, yeah.
So whenever you load up a song, you click it, you see the different slides and stuff.
Right.
The first one there is a background,
Right.
which you can use.
Right.
Do you have to use it?
No, you don't. So we can, here if we do clear all, and let's say we want to do extravagant, but we want to use a pink background that has like mountains in it and stuff. So we can click that before we click that first slide, and then just keep going.
Formatting the lyrics and stuff. Because
Okay. The all-powerful format bar up here.
it's actually super cool.
This is really great. So we're going to go into here, and we are just going to put in some text. Now, if you were copying your stuff from the web, what will often happen is it will be
So you
black
mean like
text.
going to the website
Like it,
for lyrics, press copy and paste it in?
yeah, what I did before we had the whole song select thing set up is I would just go into Google, I would type up the song, the lyrics usually pop up, and I would just copy paste them into here. So they typically, Google uses like about 12-point font, it's black, it's left justified, and obviously the background is black, so that's not very good. So
You can't even see it.
yeah, this is really unfortunate.
Can you do press paragraph or enter.
Yeah, you
and
can
write
do
something else.
You can do all that stuff. Hello world.
Okay.
And so all this text is here, but you can't see it. Real bummer. So what I used to do before I found out about this amazing toolbar is I would go in and I would manually like set the font and stuff. But I have up here this little toolbar. So you press the format bar. You can select any different font you want. Wow, I really didn't like that. Oh no. All right.
There you go.
You can change the size. You can change this. You can change the stroke, and you can also change the shadow.
What's a stroke?
So stroke is the outline. You can change the color. And you can also change the thickness by a numerical value.
Okay.
You can also create a shadow for the text as well, so that it has like.
So it sticks out from the background a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go with the standard here, and you can do apply to all. So now.
Wait, how did it turn white? Where was the setting for the color?
So the setting for the color of the text is right here, and then the background is, not the background, the outline is black, as you can see there.
Cool.
Another thing I like to do.
Oh wait. But do you know what's super cool about that is that apply all button. You don't have to type in those settings for individual slides, but you can apply it to an entire song. Right.
Yeah. So that's what the apply to all means. So it applies it to the entire song.
Yeah, so if you're like, for this song, the spacing between the lettering is like too much or something, you can just like.
Now the space between the lettering is actually the one thing that you can't do in the format bar.
Oh.
That you have to do in here. So
Okay.
You select in this little thing over here that sort of shows the spacing. I usually put it to 35. Whatever you feel looks good. Creates a little bit of the space between just for legibility. So that's that. Also, another important thing, especially if you're on like YouTube and stuff, and especially if you're trying to get like monetized, is you need to have your copyright information displayed.
Yes.
So you go to this little I button, and you can input all the information manually. Now,
Enable copyright display.
Yes. So you can go down here to the CCLI layout, and these sort of little modules can be dragged around into their respective places. So let's say I want so you go to edit template, and you can change like the font and all that, and obviously you don't want it to be intrusive, so you usually keep it small.
So for something that isn't CCLI, so like one license, would you be able to apply it to a song? Is it as simple as copy paste, or how does that work?
So we have our one license number, which I don't know, it's somewhere. So it's right here. So typically, when this generates, there will be an empty slot somewhere. That's just how it usually ends up happening. If there isn't, I'll put it under the publisher side, but typically there's something that's empty, so you just copy paste it and it'll display as that. Like this will display as the artist, which is why I have both the artist and the author, because typically they'll only put the name of the person in one. So this will show up on the slide. It should at least. That's probably because I didn't press display copyright. So you can see down there it has it says the one license.
So I think you navigated to something that's super important, but the preferences. Can you
Yes.
kind of walk through that?
So so the final piece of the puzzle here is how to actually put it up on whatever screen you're using. So first thing you're going to want to do is you go to your settings and you select extend these displays. Your display settings.
So we're doing the two screens, which is super important for ProPresenter.
So the thing about ProPresenter is that it's designed for two screens. You can use it with one screen if you want, but that kind of defeats the purpose. And so what you have to do is you go to ProPresenter 6 and then down to Preferences, and you'll see these two little squares here. So you drag this onto here, and so once it looks like this, you know you did it right.
Okay, yeah, I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, what's going on? But I think it's pretty much, you're setting which one is what does SD stand for?
Standard display? Is that right?
Okay.
That seems right.
And then out is?
Out is just the output. So by default, the output is like there, right? You have to drag it over onto your second display. And then this will obviously be your sort of control center. So now what's happening is my second display is showing this. But this display, like the one that's in front of me, is showing this right here.
Okay, so if you wanted to actually start presenting, where's the button on the screen?
So you go up here where it says output, and you press, oh gosh, why didn't it work?
Okay, so that's okay. So if you click that, then it's going to begin to display on your second screen, right?
Oh, right, yeah, duh. Okay, so yeah, they
Okay,
don't know that didn't work.
Exactly.
Okay.
They didn't know it didn't
Right,
work.
smart.
Let's do that. Let's do that again.
Right. Okay.
No, that
I
wasn't
don't,
it.
yeah, I don't,
Okay,
okay,
go
the
back.
mouse is over here, hold on. Oh gosh, I've lost the mouse.
Can you just press escape?
Yeah, I'm trying, it's not working. Oh, no. I don't think I'm gonna do it.
I'll
Control,
try.
delete. Where's the,
Oh no, not the task manager. We failed.
So you'll see down here we have this little width and height thing. So maybe you know things about screen resolutions, maybe you don't. So right now we are in what's called 720p. So
So I think that's still technically HD.
yeah, I
High
think so.
definition.
Yeah. So that's this bottom number. So if you hear 1080, that means that's what the height is. That's what the height of the resolution is, and there's a corresponding number for the width. So
I think it's 1920 by 1080.
I think so, yes. So you can set these numbers here. So right now, this is the resolution of our monitor. It wouldn't really make sense to set a higher resolution than that. But if your output monitor is a higher resolution than your main monitor, you can set it to be that resolution. And a quick, easy way to do that is to just press full screen. Oh, it looks like that wasn't actually a resolution.
Yeah, so I think full screen on this particular computer is a little bit less. It's
So,
interesting.
but yeah, so so yeah, that's the main thing there. If for whatever reason you are, it's like it's not quite in frame correctly, you can press these little buttons until it is. So that'll sort of make it move in whatever sort of direction you put it.
So what you're saying, that your output will actually shift?
Will shift, yeah. So again, generally that's not gonna, you're not really gonna need that unless you have like some kind of weird resolution. So generally leaving it right here is how it's probably gonna be. So yeah.
Alrighty. So let's say someone is just getting started with ProPresenter. I mean, what's pretty much like the first thing they'll be doing in developing, starting to do this?
Yeah, just like we talked about, just either if you have song select, searching that up in the search bar, and if you don't, going and pressing new, creating a new song, all that.
So you kind of starting to build up your song library.
Yeah.
Things to pull from. Okay, once you already have a certain amount, or at least sufficient enough library, then what's the next step after having your songs?
So then you're gonna probably want to get into making your playlists for mass or whatever event, and so yeah, that's the good thing about ProPresenter is that it has a lot of practical applications, especially in the sort of ministry world. So I mean, though it was meant for more of like a sort of Protestant worship service, it can definitely be adapted into the mass, which we've done here. I mean, we have all the mass parts put together right here with nice little opening transitions and all that. And so we have like different variations on them. So if you're, using Saint the Savior of the World, you can do that as opposed to the more standard. And you can do this for special events, like we have our Eucharistic conference that we do like that. You can also use this for your youth ministry if you're doing you're doing your praise and worship. But even if you're not, like that little fiat thing I displayed earlier, since that's the theme for this year in Life Teen and Edge, there were days when I would go into the basement, I would hook this up to the TV, I would just put this up. So when the kids were coming down, they would be able to think like, okay, this is a Mary year, and Mary is the center of this year that we're talking about. And there's even applications for like school. I wouldn't personally buy this exclusively for school, but there's you can, this obviously is a pretty surface level explanation. There's all these other features, like you can create like a sort of in computer like laser pointer that you can put on different parts of your background, your slides and stuff. So this can sort of be applied in a number of different ways. Yeah.
Sorry. So then after you start developing playlists, I guess you're also developing a content and backgrounds library as well?
Yes, yeah, and as we've mentioned, ours has gotten pretty extensive. So yeah, that's when you're going to want to start organizing, and that makes honestly so like a lot easier. Like if you've got a song that you're like, you know what, I just want something very simple in the background, you can very easily, get that. If you want like something for Lent, you can get like your crosses, you can get your Palm Sunday stuff, you can get all this sort of stuff very easily when you actually start to organize it.
Right. And then I guess transitions, there are a whole bunch of different types of transitions you can do.
Yeah, so
Probably got your fades, your slides. I don't know if there's anything else.
So right
in
up
there.
here you have.
Nice.
You can set all of the. This little button up here is where you set for the entire song. You can also go into a specific slide. As you can see, these little things, these little labels here, and those are the transitions of that specific slide. You can even go as far as to make different elements in a slide move independently. So I have an example here. We were doing a Zoom prayer ministry. So you can see the top two things were sort of like a slide in, whereas the bottom was just like a fade. So to do that, you go in, you click on the specific thing, and then you go over here to this little thing here, and you just
so you're saying a specific element within your
the
slide.
slide can have a different transition from something else.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So can we actually like pull up the Fiat playlist, because I think that might help to see how.
Sure.
Just a playlist in effect.
So here we are. We have all of our different options here.
Okay, so I guess it starts out with the intro loop there.
Yeah. So the way you'll see that this actually automatically transitions from one slide to another, and you might be thinking, how do you do that? So this took way too long for me to figure out, and it's actually very simple. So all you have to do is you right click, and you press Go to Next Timer, and so you can set the duration that a slide will be on the screen, and it'll.
So like 30 seconds.
Yeah, so 30 seconds is our standard here. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing this necessarily for an actual song, because sometimes again people linger on songs more than you might anticipate, and then you get behind and all that. So, but for like an intro loop like this, we have our welcome slide. We have like we have like drone footage of our church and all this stuff.
So I guess like the function of this one is prior to the actual event, you can just leave. It's almost like commercials. Just leave them up there on the screen. It cycles between the different content pieces. You can set the duration, and then it transitions automatically.
Yep.
Okay, that's super cool.
And then the last piece of that is if you want it to go to the beginning, you simply click loop to the beginning, and then it'll keep going.
So it'll just keep going indefinitely.
Yeah, you could leave this going for 1,000 years, and it would just keep going.
That's cool. So then after the intro loop is a song?
Yes. So we have a number of songs here. As you can see, you can actually just scroll down if you have it in contiguous. That's a weird word.
Nice.
But yeah, so if for some reason a song gets skipped, which sometimes they do, you just go right on to the next one. And you can also press this little arrow button, and it'll sort of close that song, so that it doesn't take up as much space when you're doing it, which is super nice.
All right, so I guess there are two more songs after that. Hail Mary,
Right.
Gentle Woman, Canticle of the Turning. What's Joe?
So Joe was our speaker at our last event, so he had an image he wanted up. Now, in a normal sort of, in your standard like PowerPoint or whatever, you just have the image, right? But I thought it was like, okay, well, you know what, this fire background adds a little something to it, so I put that behind the image. And you can, and again, this is the sort of thing where you can change it to whatever you want. So if I want to change it to that on the fly, I can totally do that. All these sorts of stuff, just to give it a little oomph. That's the whole thing about ProPresenter. You know, you really, when it comes down to it, do you need ProPresenter? Probably not. But it really does add something, and it sort of makes the event just that much more engaging.
Okay, so going back to Joe, I think that's technically still a song, right?
Yes. So that's how all of this works. It's just a series of songs. So
And so you're still, I guess, creating new slides with your different content within the song, and then you just jump between them.
Yep. And so so that's how it's same for whether it's a song or whether it's like a presenter's playlist, which is what it is here. Obviously, it's only one slide here, but it's all made the same way.
Okay.
So then you have your next songs, and then what's nice about ProPresenter is that once you make it, you never have to make it again, unless you lose it somehow.
It can happen.
It
How do
can
you
happen.
avoid losing it somehow?
There is a cloud sync function. We don't really know how that works. So what we do is we just back it up as often as possible. So you get like an external hard drive or some sort of storage device. You put all of your content onto it, and so that you have it in a safe place where if for some reason like the computer crashes or like you lose it gets wiped or something, you can always just put it back on.
I think we're actually able to export, not just the entire library of songs, but you can also do it. You can export a playlist with all of its content inside, and so you can switch it over to a different computer that also has ProPresenter, or just like re-access it if your computer dies on you.
Yeah. And so the good thing about having this music for future use is like the Salutaris, which we use obviously for our adoration. We don't have to make it again every time. It's just there. And so you just keep going through the songs.
Is the rest of it pretty much just songs, or is
It's pretty much just songs, yeah. So,
Okay.
And then of course our last thing here is our Benediction playlist. So we have our different songs. So we have Tantamerigo, Divine Praises, all that. And then at the end we have another looping little song here that has Zoom ministry and some nice little images.
So I think as far as showing ProPresenter, we've kind of gone through a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Is there anything we really missed at this point?
I mean, of course, again, this is a very deep program. There's lots of stuff like, we haven't even gotten into like live video feeds and stuff like that. And there's all the modules you can buy on top of it. But really, this is definitely like your basic sort of essentials kit. Like this is like if you follow sort of the guide in this video and you had the program in front of you, you'd be pretty much good to go for just about anything you'd be doing really.
So I guess the primary advantages are moving backgrounds, and then you just have so much capability in what you're able to do. Literally, it's almost endless.
Right.
Flexibility, especially when you're presenting, to be able to manipulate things real time.
Alrighty, thanks, Imanol.
Of course.
I know this was like a huge session. We covered a lot, but I hope that for especially those of us who don't even know what ProPresenter does, we may have heard of what it is or that it is used. I think it's really cool to at least get a glimpse into it and see what it's capable of and how it could be implemented, especially in for the liturgy.
Yeah.
Any last words to our audience here?
Not sponsored by ProPresenter, but it's a great program, and if you decide to download it, it really can again put that little extra something into your mass or whatever it is that you're using it for.